Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror. So today, guys, we're going to be doing our Didn't See That Coming on Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Which should not be called Halloween 3, in my opinion.
And in my opinion, it shouldn't be called Season of the Witch. It should be called the Season of the Title Card. Because we get a shitload of title cards in this movie. How many exactly? Keep watching, because we're going to count every single title card that they lazily wrote into the movie. I have one big complaint about the movie, and it's the laziness of writing when it comes to the title card and the time jump. So in order to start that, we got to start at the first title card.
So, very first title card, we are in Northern California. Second title card, it is Saturday, October 23rd. A man named Harry Grimbridge is running down the freeway. A car is chasing after him. Harry's trying to hide. He finds this parking lot and he's trying to get behind stuff when a man in a very nice suit, he's looking sharp, attacks him and is choking him against the ground. Harry, he sees this chain and starts pulling it. And on the other end of the chain is a block that's holding a car in place. This is when the car starts rolling down the hill. Super, super slow.
And it's actually almost reminds me of Austin Powers when he's driving the steamroller and the guy's like,
Watch out! Watch out!
But nonetheless, the man, he gets crushed between the two cars. But there isn't any blood or guts, which really bummed me out.
Very disappointing to you.
I love blood and guts. Anyways, Harry, he gets out from underneath the car and runs off. Then we get our third title card. It is 1 hour later. We're at a garage/gas station. A man in there, he's watching the news. And on the news, they see that a piece of Stonehenge had been stolen,
leaving British authorities still baffled and without any substantial clues 9 months after the theft.
So after the news report, they cut to a commercial with the Silver Shamrock's theme song.
which if you've ever watched this movie, you know the struggle of getting this stuck in your head.
Yeah, I sang this for a couple days after watching this movie, and I'm not exaggerating. And if you watch the intro there, hopefully it's stuck in your head now too, because it had to be stuck in ours. And you will hear this song so many times. This movie should have been called Season of the Title Card and Catchy Ass Song, because that's all that's, you get so many of those throughout this movie. And the commercial, it says, you can own one of the Halloween 3. Way to get that title in there, guys.
Yeah.
So the Halloween 3 is actually the 3 masks, which you have the witch, the pumpkin, and the skull. And I think that's brilliant, the way that they incorporated that. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well. The owner gets attacked by Harry, which is an awesome jump scare.
That one really got us.
It really did. So then we get introduced to Dr. Dan Chalice, and he's going to see his kids. He's drunk. He brings them a present, which happens to be these boring old Halloween masks. Not the Halloween 3, however, but their mom.
Mom saved the day.
Yeah, she really did. It's Linda, and she's actually played by Nancy Kyles, our Annie from Halloween 1978, which I thought was really cool. Dr. Chalice gets called into the hospital where the garage owner has brought Harry in. Harry hears the Silver Shamrock commercial and starts saying they're going to kill us all. He's going all crazy. And then the guy that brought him in is just kind of like, all right, guys, time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail.
He does, too. He's like, peace.
Another suited man pulls up into the hospital, and he goes into Harry's room. He puts his hand over Harry's mouth. And what I love about this, he pulls his other hand up, and he's so dramatic, like he's going to punch him. Then he brings it down, almost like he pinches his nose. And then he completely crushes his face completely in.
He just breaks that guy's face. Like, it's broken. So the nurse, she starts screaming, waking up Dan. Dan chases the man out into the parking lot when the man gets in his car and he pours gasoline on himself and then lights himself on fire, blowing up the entire car, which was insane, right? Yeah. That's crazy. So Dan, he decides he can't pick up his kids, and he calls his ex-wife Linda and tells her, I'm not going to come get the kids. And she's like yelling at him over the other line. I think she's just tired of him neglecting them. This is when Dan sees Harry's pumpkin mask. Harry had been holding a pumpkin mask, and he looks on the back of it, and there's a logo that says Silver Shamrock. This is when we get the 4th title card. It is Sunday the 24th, when Harry's daughter comes in to identify her dad's body. Then we get the 5th title card, and it is now Wednesday the 27th. Yeah, and that was literally only 1 minute and 49 seconds from the 4th one, which is weird, right?
Again, lazy writing. That's my biggest complaint.
Yeah, for sure. Then Dan, he starts asking the coroner about the man that lit himself on fire, trying to get any information that she knows. He's flirting with her. He's drunk per usual.
Yeah. Well, then, it's been 1 minute and 22 seconds since the last title card. So let's give you another one. This is our 6th title card. And drunk Dan is at the bar, and we get the classic 1978 Halloween on TV, which, I think this is brilliant. When they originally wrote these films, they were supposed to be anthology films with a different film with the name Halloween every single year. And to show that this is not in the same universe as Halloween 1978 or Halloween 2, I think it's brilliant.
I think it was a surprise to the Michael Myers fans, though.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But
we will.
Then after that, they cut the commercial and we get the Silver Shamrock song again. Ellie Grimbridge, who is Harry's daughter, walks in to get information from Dan about her father's death. She wants to know, what happened? Why was my dad acting so crazy? Dan says, I don't know. He was holding on to this Halloween mask, saying they're going to kill us all. And then 1 hour later, he was dead. Ellie takes Dan to her dad's toy shop, where she has been doing some of her own investigation, and sees the last thing he had done before he died was to go pick up Silver Shamrock masks from the factory itself. He was supposed to have dinner with his kids that night, but he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's grab a 6-pack of beer. I'm going to go with you to Santa Mira. They get in the car, they drive, and once they get into Santa Mira, I love this shot. They're driving around the town, and people in the town are watching them, and even cameras up on the poles are following every single move that they make throughout the town.
So they drive to the factory, but they decide that they need a plan. So they go to a hotel that they've seen down the road, get a room. They pretend to be a married couple. This is when Dan tells Ellie to keep the hotel clerk busy, and he goes into the office and he searches the logbook, which I feel like is a total homage to Psycho.
100%.
I love. That's awesome. On his way back from the office, he sees the top Silver Shamrock seller, Buddy Kupfer, his wife, Betty, and his son, Buddy Jr. And then another seller, her name is Marge Gutman. So everybody that stays there, I guess, are Silver Shamrock sellers.
Exclusive motel.
Yeah.
After this, Dan goes back to the room, and I just want to add something real quick. You'll notice that as he's walking back to the room, it's definitely a daytime out. But as you see now, in this freeze frame, it's totally night behind him when he walks in. And there's just something about this that Ashley and I, we love to find these things in movies. Little tiny inconsistencies and continuity errors. I just love the fact that they probably didn't get the shot right, and they had to go back and do it, and they were like, shit, nobody will notice this nighttime out. Somebody noticed, so.
Can't get nothing past Ken Sledge. This is when Dan tells Ellie he'll get another room, and she thinks that'll be a little suspicious because they're pretending to be a married couple. He's like, well, I guess I'll go sleep in my car, then I'll be more comfortable than sleeping on the floor. And her, with her seductive eyes, is like, well, where would you like to sleep, Dr. Shellis? And he's like, you know darn well where I want to sleep. And they start making out.
Gross.
Yeah, it's weird. And it's
so fucking weird. It looks like a grandpa making out with his granddaughter.
Yeah.
And this is not a stab at anybody. The cast is great, but I don't want to watch this part.
So over the loudspeaker, we get a voice, which is our Jamie Lee Curtis. Love it. And she says, it's 6 o'clock, curfew. And everyone starts to go inside. Even someone grabs their cat and takes them inside. So the entire town at this point is being surveillanced.
Yeah. But Dan, he doesn't give no fucks about curfew because he's got to get drunk. On his way back from going to get the booze, he runs into a homeless guy. And the guy gives him the best pitch. He's like, listen, man, I ain't got no diseases. You should let me have a drink of that. And Dan's like,
okay.
There you go, buddy.
Sounds legit to me.
He tells Dan about the leader of Silver Shamrock, Colonel Cochran, who built the town up from the ground, but he didn't use any local labor. He brought in his own people, and this guy is super fucking salty about it. And he's like, I'm going to get him this year. I'm going to throw a Molotov cocktail in there, or I'm going to buy a whole case, and I'm going to fill it with Molotov cocktails and throw them in that factory this year. I think he kind of blames Colonel Cochran for his own failures. If he were to use me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Dan's finally just like, oh, okay, see you, buddy. As he's walking away, the homeless guy gets attacked by 2 men. They shove him down on his knees. grab him by the head, and completely fucking rip his head off of his body.
So Dan calls the coroner assistant asking if she's found out anything about the man that set himself on fire. That's when the coroner tells her that they messed up and that they've been doing an autopsy on pretty much the car this whole time. 2 days wasted because they mixed up some envelopes.
Yeah.
Which
fucking idiots.
She's pretty upset about. I would be too.
Right.
Dan and Ellie again get all hot and bothered in their room while we cut over to the next room, and it's Marge, and she finds the Silver Shamrock logo, and she looks on the back of it and it's got a chip in it. So she takes a bobby pin out of her hair and starts messing with the chip. When a laser beam goes into her mouth, completely tearing her mouth apart.
Destroys her whole face. It's fucking awesome looking.
I love it.
Yeah.
So she's laying there, and then these bugs, they start to crawl out of her face.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
So this is when a bunch of men in white coats, they're going to take her to the factory. Cochran pulls up and he says, she will get the best care here.
At the factory is where she'll get the best medical care.
Yeah. Because Dan's like, I'm a doctor. Oh, no, we don't need you, Dan. And this is when we get number 7 title card, and it lets us know that it is Saturday the 30th.
Well, now Dan's trying to call the coroner again, trying to figure out what they found out. They think someone is tampering with the evidence. The car is hot when it burned up, but there should be some type of bone. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't just be doing an autopsy on a car. All they're having here is car parts and ashes. That's it. Dan asks Kitty to do some research on Colonel Cochran, hangs up the phone, and we see that the phone is bugged behind the desk. So they've been listening to everything that he's been saying on every phone call he's made. Dan and Ellie go to the factory and ask about Harry's order, her father. When Colonel Cochran comes in, and we see that the bestseller Buddy and his family, he's going to give them a tour of the factory since he's been their bestseller. He invites Dan and Ellie along to come around for the ride since the order got messed up. He said, you're going to get a free order on us, and we'd like to give you a tour of the factory, because they're using the excuse that they never got the order from her dad. Mm-hmm. Buddy Jr. wants one of the masks on the shelf, but Colonel Cochran says, hey, they're not ready yet. It hasn't been through the final processing. Buddy Sr. says, what's the process? Can I see it? Colonel's like, nah, it's a little bit too dangerous. I can't let you do that. And the men in suits are everywhere. They're all over the place. This is when Dan and Ellie, they leave to go and look because they see Ellie's dad's car inside one of the bays, but the men show up and they kind of block it so they can't get any farther. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dan tells her to pack and go. You go call the police. I'm going to get this shit figured out. The phone won't work. He keeps trying to call, but your call cannot be completed as dialed. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. It just keeps happening over and over again. Dan goes back to the motel room and Ellie is gone. She's just gone now. And he looks out the window and there's these 5 men in suits walking right at him. This obviously starts off a chase scene. Dan sees these guys are coming towards him. Ellie is missing. He's got to get the fuck out of here. He knows he's got to get back to the factory. Mm-hmm. While he's on his way, evading everything, he does one of the best bush dives I've ever seen in my entire life.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, he breaks into the factory and sees an old woman knitting, and he is asking her, where's Ellie? She won't respond to him, so he just starts shaking her. This is when her head falls off. Like, dang, Dan, you shook her way too hard.
I feel like she might have been a pet of Harry and Lloyd in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
His head fell off.
So you see inside her head that she was actually a robot. One of Cochran's men grab him from behind and they start fighting, and Dan's punching him in the face, and it's like not effective at all. The man is not budging. Mm-hmm. This is when Dan puts his fist through his stomach and he pulls out, and there's all this like orange goo all over his fist. Mm-hmm. So we now know that this man is an android. Yeah. So we get this reveal. Mm-hmm. So this is when Dan is asking again, where's Ellie? Mm-hmm. Cochran says she's resting, and then he's going on about how tomorrow is Halloween and that it's a very, very busy day for him. This is when we get the 9th title card, revealing it is now Halloween, Sunday, October 31st.
They walked down into the basement where they see the missing piece of Stonehenge. Cochran says it has a powerful force, and they are putting pieces of the rock into the Silver Shamrock logos that go on the back of the masks. And it's funny because I wanted to know how they got, because they talk about, we had a hell of a time getting it here. Okay.
You don't say.
Yeah. Could you fill us in a little more?
Like how?
But Cochran wants to show Dan a demonstration. So the androids march the Cochran family into a room. They put the mask on little Buddy Cuffrin, and the rest of the family is watching. You know, they're watching the commercial. The commercial starts playing. This is when little Buddy starts grabbing his head. He's killed, and all these bugs and snakes start coming out. They killed this kid, like crushed his head, killed him, and Betty faints, which I think ends up killing her eventually. You see a snake crawling on her, and then Buddy gets bit by a snake, Big Buddy, and he ends up dying too. So at this point, Dan is like furious and upset and scared. He just watched his kid and his parents die. But at the end, he kind of just gives in. Like, he's come to terms with his fate. And the androids take him, and they take him down to the basement. We now get our slew of title cards with all the kids from different states that are trick-or-treating with the big 3 Halloween masks on. We get 10 from Dayton, Ohio, 11 from New York, 12 from Omaha, Nebraska, 13 Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 14 Los Angeles, California, 15 Seattle, Washington, and 16 Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, and in this montage, we see that Dan's kids are watching the commercial, and they have their Halloween masks on that their mom bought. This is when Kitty, the coroner assistant, she hasn't heard from Dan in a couple of days, so she's trying to get a hold of him. So she calls the hotel, and when she dials it, you get the...
Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Yeah, we all know that little message. This is when she's playing with some of the parts. She had something to tell Dan. She's playing with the parts, and she realizes that this man wasn't a human. He was actually an android. But unfortunately, she gets attacked by another android. He takes a drill and kills her. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Now we get our number 17 title card. It is 7:30 p.m.
We're at 17 title cards now, guys.
Crazy. Dan, he's tied to a chair, and Cochran tells Dan the reason he's doing all of this is because people do not respect the classic Halloween anymore, the traditions. They used to sacrifice kids in their old Celtic culture, which is like a form of witchcraft. And he then places the skeleton mask on Dan and turns on Halloween 78. Dan rudely kicks over the TV. We know that that's a good movie.
Well, what I love about this is like they're using it as a form of torture. Like they tie him to the chair, and then his torture is he has to watch Halloween 78. Like that's what would be my torture too. But I also react the same way that Dan would, and he puts his foot right through the TV.
You're real funny, Ken.
But in all seriousness, Dan has some of the best aim ever because he takes that skeleton mask and throws it right up over top of the camera, covering up so they can't see him. He ends up escaping through the air ducts, and he calls his ex-wife, trying to tell her to take the mask off the kids. She thinks he's just drunk again. He's like, "Shut up! I'm not drunk. Listen to me. Take the mask off the kids." He saves Ellie. They escape into the warehouse where they take all the silver shamrock emblems, those little logos that they had. He goes up onto the catwalk, and they end up dumping them down after he messes with the system, and it plays the commercial early, so it starts getting all these light beams off, and it's killing all the androids that are down there after he dumps them off. Colonel Cochran looks up and just starts clapping for him. He's like, "Yeah, you got me. I know it." This causes a light currency and making a high-powered blue light around the android, and the Stonehenge's energy emerges out into the blue circle energy and kills Colonel Cochran. And I love the way he looks as he's dying. I love that stone face that he has right there. And this is where Dan and Ellie get free as the factory starts to blow up, and we see some of the best CGI fire in the background that I have ever seen in 36 years watching TV.
So Ellie attacks Dan while they're driving. He crashes from the attack, and Ellie's arm gets ripped off, revealing that she's actually an android.
That's a twist. That's very twisty.
Crazy, right?
Didn't see that coming.
No. So she's attacking him, and he takes his tire iron and knocks her head clean off. So she's into pieces, but her arm still is able to choke him out. He gets away from her arm and runs off into the distance. This is when he comes back to the gas station from the beginning. This poor gas station attendant is probably like, not him.
Come on, bro.
Like, we just had this happen. So this is when Dan, he calls the broadcast stations and is trying to get this commercial taken off the air. He gets 2 of the commercials taken off.
There's one more channel, though.
But there's the 3rd station that he does not get taken off in time. And the movie ends like this.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
So what's even crazier is after this happens, when the credits were rolling, it was supposed to have the sound of children and parents screaming throughout the credits, which I think is brilliant. That would have been awesome.
That would have been sounds so cool, but they were probably like, we can't do
Yeah,
that.
the studio was like,
that's too much.
We can't kill every kid in the world, guys. I'm sorry.
Right.
So when it comes to our ranking of the movie, I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 5. I genuinely really like this movie. Even though there is the big twist of this is a Halloween movie without Michael Myers.
Didn't see it coming, did ya?
But at the same time, there are flaws in this movie. Like I said, the overusage of title cards instead of being able to tell a good story. Questions left unanswered, like was Ellie an android the whole time? Or and if she wasn't, they created this Ellie android. Where's the real Ellie? Did she die? So I mean, there are certain things about this movie that hold it down for me, but I still think that this is a very, very good movie that I do love to watch. So I'm gonna give it 3.5 skulls out of 5.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I was disappointed that it was called Halloween 3, and you know we didn't have Michael Myers. That really did disappoint me, but the movie still entertains me. It's still entertaining. Like you said, there's flaws, but overall, it's a good movie, and I still would watch it.
I think one thing that bothers me is, being gaslit as a kid. Don't even watch that movie. That's the one without Michael Myers. Don't even watch that movie. And then you watch it and you're like, damn, this is so good. Like, I was gaslit into not watching this movie the whole time I was a kid, but I was lucky enough to be able to watch it as a young boy, and I did like it back then, but I did have that stigma around it. So if you haven't seen this movie, I really suggest you check it out. It's a very good movie. Go into it with an open mind, knowing that it's in a completely different universe than the Michael Myers Halloween franchise. So we appreciate you guys so much for being here. Until next time, guys, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.